and good morning. And I will let Jake start talking about TrueLink and the TrueLink Visa prepaid card.
Yeah, thanks so much, Julie. Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me. Like Julie mentioned, my name is Jake. I work at TrueLink Financial. I'm an account manager and kind of customer success person here. And what I thought I would do today is share my screen and walk you all through a little bit about the TrueLink card. TrueLink cards are stored value or reloadable Visa debit cards that are really set up for individuals or families, professionals. It's used by a lot of different types of people, but they're Visa debit cards that can be ordered and set up for one person and managed by another person. So a lot of times with older adults, maybe we also serve a lot of folks with developmental or intellectual disabilities. People want to have a sense of autonomy, of financial normalcy, the ability to go out there and visit the diner some mornings and get breakfast with their friends. But they are at risk, right, for maybe some financial exploitation or making purchases that might not be in their best interest, repeated online purchases or susceptible to scams, things like that. So the TrueLink card kind of fills a gap that, up until, the card hadn't really been addressed, which was for people who needed to have access to their funds and to make purchases, but in a way that was protected, either by a loved one, a family member, a fiduciary, et cetera. So family members in this scenario, we call them card administrators at TrueLink. Family members get access to spending controls or guardrails to set up on the cards. That includes things like custom alerts. They also have the ability to load the card conveniently and easily from their desktop or from a mobile device. They can do that 24/7. And then they also have the ability to kind of, in real time, see how the card is being spent. The card holder gets the ability to have a card in their own name, right? Which sometimes people haven't had before, or sometimes they've had to be taken away from people to protect their finances. So they get that. They get access to our customer support team, as well as the ability to log in and look at their own finances, download monthly statements, et cetera. So really kind of, like I said, a sense of financial normalcy in a time where they might not have that. So how does it work? Essentially, a family member gets the TrueLink card, orders it in the older adult's name, and then sets it up in a way that makes the most sense for this person's particular lifestyle or needs. That could be customizing the kind of guardrails on the card to only allow purchases at specific locations, whether that's like the local grocery store, diner, or whatever it might be. The older adult or the card holder, whomever they are, gets the ability to walk around and swipe the card, make purchases, maybe order food delivery, whatever. If the guardrails are set up in such a way that the transaction should go through, bing, it'll go through just like any normal transaction. If it's not supposed to go through, right, maybe it's going to be blocked because the purchase is at a bar or liquor store if there's a substance abuse disorder involved, or maybe online or over the phone if there's like a, kind of telemarketing is an issue, then it'll be blocked. And we don't tell the merchant the reason why the card was declined. There's no like, this person's not allowed to shop here message that goes through. It's a simple decline. And then, in an ongoing basis, the family member or loved one can monitor the spending, can update the spending rules and limits in real time, and can make changes as needed. I'm going to go through kind of like a demo. I'll just share a different screen in a moment and walk you all through what our actual platform looks like. But before I do, I just wanted to share, anyone is welcome to, ask me to pause if you have questions. No need to wait until the end. If you have questions live right now, it's likely that people watching later might also have that question, so please don't hold it. You can also use the chat feature if you'd like. So that's my cue, platform demo. Let's do a different share. All right. Now you should see the TrueLink homepage. So the whole thing is web-based. You have the ability to log in online and manage a TrueLink card. We also have folks that are professional fiduciaries. And so when they log in, they might manage tons of cards. Sometimes people manage one or two, sometimes people manage several thousand. So the whole thing is web-based. You can manage it here online, coming to truelinkfinancial.com and clicking the login button. Or we also have apps. So like I said, you can manage cards on the go. When you click that login button, you'll be brought to your login screen. When you do, you'll be asked to enter an email address and password that's unique to TrueLink. You'll see here is where card administrators, that's the name we use for folks that manage the TrueLink cards. This is where they log in. But if somebody has a TrueLink card, they can also log in here. They don't need a password in our system. They would just need to know the last 4 digits of their card number, the last 4 digits of their social security number, and their date of birth. So we try to make it easy for them, but we still need to, verify some identity information to make sure it is them. Let's come here to a demo. So what this looks like, this demo environment, is as if somebody is managing a lot of TrueLink cards. If you only had one, you'd only see one person's name here. But each one of these TrueLink cards has its own dashboard where you can take additional actions, make changes, etc. You can get there by clicking dashboard or clicking anywhere on a client's name. When you do, you'll be brought to the transactions tab first. You'll also have access to the funding, spending monitor, alerts, reports, and account tabs. I'll get into each one of these more in a minute, but usually what folks are the most interested in is the spending monitor. And this is where you can, in real time, set up, these different blocks or allowances depending on what your loved one needs, right? So for a lot of folks, there might be a concern that someone shouldn't have access to cash. They only want them to be able to be making purchases that are going to be kind of recorded and reportable through the TrueLink card. So maybe they're blocking access to cash, or maybe this is an issue if somebody has a hard time keeping track of money. Limit ATM access so they don't have the ability to take out large amounts of cash. You could also, in an emergency setting, say, allow them to take cash withdrawals out, but maybe limit how much cash withdrawals can be taken out on a per transaction basis, right? So maybe they have a repair that needs to happen and, the repair person accepts cash. Less and less likely these days, but let's say that happens, right? You can always block cash withdrawals over a certain amount.
Is there a credit limit like normal credit cards?
Yeah, great question, Skip. The TrueLink cards are actually, so they're not credit cards, they're stored value or reloadable Visa debit cards. So what that means is you have to add funds onto the card. The card has to have a balance in order for it to be used. So if you order the card, you activate it, you set up the spending rules and limits, the next step would be to fund it, and then your loved one could start using it. If there was no funds on the card, or let's say they spent down most of the money and they attempted to make another transaction, it would simply decline. It doesn't allow for overdrafts. And so, no overdraft fees as well. Yeah, any other questions? Great moment to pause and good question, Skip. Thank you. Any other questions?
Well, while we're on it then, is there a certain time that they can deposit into the account, or could it be on an as needed basis?
Yeah, yep, great question. Let's actually skip over to funding for a second. So TrueLink cards can be funded a couple different ways. Many people that are on the line, if your employer does direct deposit, you probably don't receive paychecks, right? They just go right into your checking account. They use your account and routing numbers for your checking account to send money to you. You can do the same thing with TrueLink cards. Each TrueLink card has an account and routing number, and you can give that to your bank or your loved one's bank and say, hey, please deposit $150 from the savings account into the TrueLink card using this account and routing number. So that's one option. With that option, you can certainly do it as needed, right? You don't need to maintain a balance. You don't need to do it on any frequency from TrueLink's perspective. Another option is to link a checking account on the funding tab here. And then once you've linked account, you can see it's connected here. You can schedule transfers on whatever timeline makes sense for your loved one. So let's say you want to give them $150 today, and it's for birthday dinner or something. We'll say birthday dinner. We click submit, and you'd see the standard transfer timeline is next business day. So if we scheduled a transfer to initiate today, TrueLink would debit that linked checking account this evening for the amount that you told us to and deposit it on the next business day basis. So first thing tomorrow morning. That's the standard transfer timeline. If you needed the transfer more quickly, we're happy to make funds available more quickly. And there's no added cost to that. There's just a limit to how many times you can do it in a day. But yeah, so this is one-time transfers, or you could do recurring transfers, let's say weekly, monthly, or whatever. Or even if the balance drops below a certain amount, like let's say you always want a balance on that card, you can schedule it to add whatever amount, we'll say 150 when the balance drops below $50. And then, it's kind of a set it and forget it model. So those are the different options, one time or recurring. After transfers are scheduled, you'll see them appear here under transfers in the next 7 days if they're coming up. And you'll see you also always have options, right? You can cancel transfers, edit transfers, or like I said, we can always add a third button here that says emergency fund, and that's for making transfers available immediately as opposed to next business day. Yeah. And then, after that, you'll start seeing transactions appear here on the transactions tab. Let's see if we've got somebody that's got some on their transactions tab I can show you. The transactions tab is a great place to go if you want to see where the card is walked, because every time the card is swiped, every time a transaction is attempted, it will show up here, even if the card was declined for any reason. So we want you to know where your loved one's been, right? Sometimes people aren't in as good of touch, or they just want to, monitor, right? See how things are going. If they walked around and oh, they're at Taco Bell, or they went to Taco Bell recently, that's great. I know they go there normally. And like I said, even if a transaction is blocked, oh, it looks like that person doesn't have any blocked transactions, but even if a transaction is blocked, it will appear here. So great place to see where the card has been, not a great place to do reconciliations from, but we've got the reports tab for that. Well, unfortunately, we don't have any blocked transactions to show you, but if they were blocked for any reason, see this blocked icon under status, and you can always click the show transaction details button, and it's going to give you a more of an explanation. So this is a charge, pretty straightforward, but if the card was declined, it would show up here to tell you why. So common reasons for declined transactions are things like insufficient funds, or maybe an invalid PIN. Or if you had set up a block spending monitor, it would show up here, right? Block on grocery stores, for example, or bars and liquor stores. We'll come over here to the spending monitor again and just briefly walk you through kind of the other places or the other tools available on here. So
I have a question.
Please, yeah, Julie.
About blocking. So if a card encounters several blocked transactions in a row, does that raise an alarm?
Yeah, good question. It kind of depends. So if there are blocks because of spending monitors, right, like the spending monitor, it won't automatically raise any alarms unless you've set up alerts over here. So like, let's say you want to know if your loved one has attempted cash withdrawals, or you want to know if there's been multiple blocked transactions. You can go ahead and set that up so you're going to get emails or even texts to tell you when there's blocked transactions or why there's blocked transactions, right?
The reason why I'm asking is that seems to be a good security measure for anybody.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, there's scams going on, and then people are being led to different places to, withdraw money. And
Oh, yeah.
so having this kind of a monitoring after a certain number of declines, maybe that would indicate some security breach or for that person having the card?
Yeah, yeah, great question. So absolutely, if you, like I said, you can set it up so for this individual, you can get alerts anytime there's blocked transactions. I'll also say, you know, a lot of the folks that we serve, right? Not everyone is cookie cutter, not everyone has kind of similar behaviors. Sometimes, I'll even say many of the people that we serve, if they have memory loss issues or compulsive purchasing behaviors, you might see them make reattempt the same thing, even if it's blocked, over and over and over again. And the card is set up to kind of create guardrails, right? The transactions won't go through, but we won't necessarily want to shut the card down in those scenarios because it's actually just part of this person's life. And if we shut it down every time they got 3 declined transactions in a row, it would make it kind of untenable for certain people.
Right.
In other scenarios, though, our team, you know, is kind of keeping an eye out for scam-like behavior. So one of those is, you know, a invalid PIN. If an invalid PIN is entered multiple times in a row when they're attempting a transaction or a cash withdrawal, that will flag the card for what we call fraud alert. And when that happens, we will automatically reach out to the card administrator, the loved one, to say, hey, we, you know, temporarily deactivated this card. We can reactivate it. You can reactivate it. The card holder can even reactivate it if they call us, verify their identities, and tell us like they do have the card in their hand and it is safe. So there are certain safety precautions that are there above and beyond the customizable alerts and tools that you have.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, good questions though, and great point. Yeah, I won't go too much deeper into the spending monitor because there's a lot of stuff here. But you'll see if we do things like block online and over the phone purchases, you can make exceptions, right? Maybe you do want them to be able to make health payments over the phone or utility payments, but you don't want them to be, you know, shopping on QVC throughout the night or something. You can set it up so it works that way. Or you want them to be able to make online and over the phone purchases, but you don't want them to, you know, be able to make charitable donations over the phone if they are susceptible to kind of repeat calls from direct salespeople. So those are some of the different options. We'll also show you spending categories. This is where you can make allowances or blocks, essentially set up these guardrails on a really customizable way, really granular way. So these are categories of merchants. And I should be clear, it's categories of merchants, not items at merchants. So for example, if bars and liquor stores are blocked, everything at bars and liquor stores will be blocked, even if it's not a problem merchandise. So like if somebody's trying to purchase water or chewing gum, tobacco, but they shouldn't have access to beer, wine, liquor. If bars and liquor stores are blocked, even the water there, even the chewing gum will be blocked at the bar and liquor store. And conversely, if grocery stores are allowed, anything at the grocery store will be allowed. Now, for a lot of folks that are, you know, serving older adults, this might not be as big of an issue. They're not too worried about them making purchases at grocery stores. But again, if there's like a substance abuse, disorder involved, then that would just be something to think through. Yeah, we talked a little bit about alerts, the ability to get texts and emails as different things are happening in the card. And then over here, reports is where you can download things like monthly statements, transaction reports, and block transaction reports. And then over here on the account tab, we have a couple more options. So like, let's say, Julie, you notice that there's some weird spending happening on a card for your loved one, and it didn't set the card inactive automatically, but you're concerned. You can always temporarily deactivate the card right here, freeze it, reach out to your loved one, say, hey, is everything okay? If they confirm everything's good, you know, you can reactivate it right from here. Or what we see a lot of times is like someone might call us or call you and say, my card's lost or stolen. I think someone stole it. You can temporarily deactivate it. That way, if it fell into the wrong hands, it wouldn't be able to be used. But if they called you at the end of the day and they said, oh, I found it, was in between the couch cushions or it was in another pair of pants, you could reactivate it. You don't have to wait for a brand new card to be shipped or anything like that. Yeah. Yeah. So that is kind of the long and short of a bunch of the TrueLink cards, TrueLink card stuff. Any questions that folks have, or any particular cases that people are trying to find support around that you want to share, or that you're looking for resources on?
Well, this just gives me so many ideas.
Oh, nice. Cool. I'm
I
all
need
ears.
it for myself.
I administer it for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. It's like it seems like a really specific use case, right? Like it seems like the kind of thing where you're like, okay, this is clearly for X, Y, and Z scenario. But over time, I've heard people start using it in a lot of different ways. There are, in caregiving scenarios when people don't want to give cash to caregivers or credit cards to caregivers that are making purchases on people's behalf, issue a card for the caregivers to use.
That's amazing. And that's exactly, yeah, that's in our wheelhouse for sure.
Yeah, totally. Or I've heard of people, I've even, it happens much more rarely, but I've even worked with professionals who have to pay, the rent to landlords on behalf of their clients. And they actually just issue the landlords TrueLink cards and they just send the money right to them. They don't actually put the restrictions in place. They just use it as a way to move money. Again, much less normal use case, but, or much more rare, but yeah, different ways people can use them. I should also say there are, yeah, please.
I got a question. What's the learning curve to use a TrueLink card for an older person who is has entirely lived on writing checks and cash, right?
Yeah.
We wanted to get them out of that mode and get them on a TrueLink card. What's the learning curve for them like?
Yeah, that's a great question. I will say it's so person by person, right? There are some people who take to it super quickly, right? Who, if they can learn how to use a debit card, a non-TrueLink debit card, if they could use a Chase a card, a credit card, whatever, then chances are they can use the TrueLink card because it's going to function the same way, right? They swipe it to make purchases. The purchase works or it doesn't work. But for some other folks, it might not be the right match, right? For people who are like losing cards, they don't have the ability to keep a hold of something, might not be the best thing for them. If somebody is just, never used a card in their life, it can't ever use a card in their life, it's still a card, so it wouldn't work for them. So I hate to, it's kind of a cop-out answer, but it's like, it kind of depends on the person, and you all know, the people you serve and the people they serve best. But I'll say we work with people of all ages, of all ability levels. Really, I've seen it work for a lot of folks that hadn't used a card before and kind of take to it.
So if you have a TrueLink, can you make a TrueLink account and TrueLink can issue paper checks?
Oh, good question. No, we don't provide those services for the TrueLink cards strictly. Now, I will say TrueLink offers more programs and services than just TrueLink cards, the ones I've just been describing. We also assist with in special needs trust or supplemental needs trust management and investment. So if people are beneficiaries of supplemental or special needs trusts, then there are some additional features and options available to them if they work with TrueLink's investment team, right? And that could include TrueLink issuing checks from that account for different things. But that's it's really specifically for folks that have special needs or supplemental needs trusts.
Is there a bank behind TrueLink, or is it you're working directly with Visa?
Yeah. Answer is kind of both. So TrueLink is not a bank. We work with Sunrise Banks Incorporated. They're the largest issuer of reloadable or prepaid Visa debit cards in the country. So those are the folks that we work with for like the banking services end of things. TrueLink is a financial tech company or fintech company. So what you're looking at on here on the screen and everything I've showed you is TrueLink, our company, our customer support team, our engineers. But we do work with both Visa and Sunrise banks. Everyone that's involved is FDIC insured. The cards are backed by Visa zero liability fraud insurance. So you get kind of the best of a couple different worlds, right? You get the security and the safety of banking with a big bank, but you get some of these kind of more interesting customizable features that come along with being kind of a financial tech company. The nimbleness, I'll say.
So in other words, you're under the same regulations that a normal debit card or even a credit card would be.
Oh, yep, that's absolutely, yeah. Same banking rules and laws apply.
Okay.
Yeah, great questions.
Yeah, fees and rates and what do we look at here?
Yeah, yep. So if folks, I should say there are monthly fees that are associated with TrueLink cards. We try to make them really easy to understand, kind of a flat rate of $12 per month when the cards are activated. So you could order 200 cards, never activate any of them, and there's never a charge. There's no upfront charges for ordering TrueLink cards or setting up an account. But once you activate the card, it will get charged $12 a month for as long as you keep it activated. If you do it for a month and you're like, you know what, actually, this isn't working out, you can close the card, we'll return any remaining balance, or you could even just temporarily deactivate the card and we'll stop charging that monthly fee. So there's no contract, no like early termination fees if you don't want to use it anymore. But that $12 monthly fee is what's charged on a monthly basis when it's being used.
So is that the only way you guys make money?
Yeah, I mean, kind of. It's definitely the way TrueLink kind of continues to operate and keep the doors open. That said, the monthly fee is how we make money. There are really low interchange fees that happen for transactions. That does not get charged. I'm sorry, interchange rates. It's basically like fees that are not charged to the cardholder, but like merchants pay for using the Visa network. I think TrueLink might get a very slim margin of those, but it's not how we make money. We make money and pay staff, pay our engineers, et cetera, by that monthly fee. And there are some other usage-based fees that you could see applied. So for example, I'm trying to think of like an international transaction fee. You could see that. Or if a card was lost before it expired and you needed to get a new one, there's a $5 card reissue fee. Short of that, I mean, maybe an out-of-network ATM fee, but if you've got cash blocked, you're not going to see that. So it's really, that $12 fee is really meant to be like an easy to understand kind of flat rate for the cards.
So there's not a per transaction fee?
Correct. Yeah, there's no fees associated with loading the cards. You can load the cards as much as you need to. We don't charge you for that. We don't charge you for transactions unless, like I said, it's a foreign transaction or an out-of-network ATM.
So is there interest that's accrued on the balance that's being carried?
Great question. They are not savings accounts, so they do not accrue interest. The balance on cards are not interest accruing. So
does TrueLink have constraints on what do they do with all of that liquid cash that's available to them?
Do you mind asking that another way? I'm not quite sure I
Sure.
understand that.
So TrueLink as a company, these cards being prepaid, all of that digital value of money is in some repository. So is that being used to bear interest from TrueLink, or is that?
Got it. Got it. No, that's it's simply the pool of money that gets used, like stored for card usage. So we don't like invest. So we do have an investment team that works on those special needs or supplemental needs trusts that I was talking about. They manage pooled special needs trusts. Those are those are investment accounts, but those are totally separate from this. The funds do not bear interest for TrueLink. That's not how TrueLink makes money. They live with the cards. So let's say you closed a card, or you deactivated a card, and you forgot about any remaining balance. In a certain amount of time, our team would reach out to you and say, we've got to return this to you, or we have to return it to the state if it's abandoned. So we don't invest that money.
You mentioned that the ATMs have to be in network. How do you determine that, and how do the users know if they're in network or not?
Yeah, great question. So TrueLink is part of the Allpoint ATM network. This is, I think, the largest private network outside of banks of ATMs. So it's basically where people can go to get fee-free access to cash. So it's been a while. You have to remind me, what's a zip code in San Jose that you all are in?
95124.
All right, so let's see if we've got. So you got a pretty decent amount of ATMs in the area. These are where they can get fee-free access to cash. You'll see some of them are in CVS's, beauty spa salon, Walgreens, Costco, Walgreens, CVS. So this is where they can go to get fee-free access to cash. If somebody's not near one of these, right? Let's say they're in this neighborhood or over here, and they can't get to one of those ATMs, and their loved one has allowed access to cash at an ATM, they can also do cash back at time of purchase. So if they go to a participating merchant, let's say Walgreens or whatever, and they buy a soda and they get the offer to do cash back at time of purchase, there's never a fee for that.
What about if they do it at Safeway?
Yeah, same thing, as long as there's no fee from TrueLink for that. Now,
Yeah.
I have heard in some cases, very few and far between, that there are some merchants that have started charging for that. I've not seen this myself. I haven't actually even been able to substantiate it. I haven't found those fees on TrueLink cards, but TrueLink's not in control of what merchants might charge, but we will
Right.
never charge for cash back at time of purchase at Safeway.
What would the fee be for out of network ATMs?
$1.50 from TrueLink. And then usually the ATM itself is going to charge a fee. And that's very low.
Well, that's reasonable. Not like if they were in Las Vegas. That would be $15, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, our percentage.
Right. Yeah, no, it's, the people that we work with, right? It's like many of them are on fixed incomes, or many of them have like limited access to their finances. So we try, we're really here to kind of create an alternative to these like predatory kind of like fee-based companies. So that $12 fee, a lot of times people are, maybe a little sticker shock up front, but over time they realize that it's paying for these services. It's paying for things like, free access to cash back at time of purchase. And additionally, I'll say we have an amazing customer support team. It's hard to demonstrate in a demo environment like this, but we have a whole team that's just here to answer questions from cardholders. And they are people that are well trained at working with folks of all different ability levels and all different ages and all different levels of comfort using a financial product like a debit card. So I feel really confident on a call like this saying, like, if you recommended TrueLink to somebody and their loved one called TrueLink, they would be treated with dignity, they would be treated with respect, and we would work hard to get to the bottom of their questions, right? Everyone's stateside. We don't, they don't get lost in a maze. We work pretty hard to help people when they need it.
Amazing. Can you quickly go over, you did mention that TrueLink does have financial services regarding trusts and special needs trusts. Sometimes we do work with families that are operating from a trust.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so TrueLink, I won't pretend to be an expert on our trust and investment platforms and like our, the portfolios or levels of risk versus return that people might see if they were part of our pooled special needs trust investment kind of programs. But what I will say is that we've got an expert team of folks that have been working in the special needs trust world for decades, and are also really really here to answer questions, especially ahead of time if people are considering it. I even sometimes, like, I'll talk to a customer and they'll be like, we're thinking about doing a special needs trust. We don't know the benefits and drawbacks. I just send them over to our team and just say, like, hey, talk to them. They'll give you the ins and outs, the benefits and drawbacks, even before you have the potential of being a customer, of just for setting up trusts. So don't hesitate to ever come here to TrueLinkFinancial.com and come to the investment team, investing tab here. Click talk with the team, and you can always schedule a time to talk with them more. But in short, our investment advisor team manages investments of pooled special needs trusts with an effort and goal to help people maintain their finances and grow their finances over time.
Amazing.
Yeah, great questions. Any other questions that folks have? Cool. Well, I know I've kind of talked your ears off for a while, but you had great questions. I will, let's see, I'll go back to my little, this thing here, my presentation. You've got Jamie's contact information here, who you've spoken with previously. I can also be reached. I'll send you, Julie, my contact information once more. So if people have questions, they can always reach out to me directly. I use jake.salt@truelinkfinancial.com or accounts@truelinkfinancial.com. But I really encourage anyone to give me a call if they have questions. We're here to help, however we can. So please don't hesitate.
Amazing. Good stuff. I have several clients, several past clients. I wish I knew about you before.
Sure.
Going forward. So this is another opportunity for us to be able to provide a solution for certain circumstances for our clients. And would you be available, say, if we have consumer marketing events where we talk to senior families, families of seniors, or just our clients in general?
Oh yeah. Well, I would say anytime you've got somebody that's like interested in learning more, don't hesitate to direct them to Jamie or me. We're direct points of contact in those scenarios. If you ever do have events where you're looking for, information to share or people to share, reach out. Our marketing team is usually the one that kind of arranges for getting people in places for different events, if they're live or a Zoom event like this. But I'm always happy to kind of help channel those, those inquiries to the place they're supposed to be and get you the answers you're looking for. So yeah, don't ever wait. You can always reach out.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, great, Julie, Skip, and everybody on the line. I really appreciate you having me. If you'd like, I'm happy to stay on if you think you do have more questions. Otherwise, I'll stop sharing my screen and I'll probably exit. And again, unless you prefer that I stay on, I'm happy to do that too.
No, you're welcome to be finished up, and we really appreciate your time and this new knowledge. And we're just gonna pick up this ball and run with it.
All right. Well, it's been a pleasure, and I look forward to connecting with you all again soon if I can help.
Yeah, thank you.
Jake.
And
My pleasure.
tell Claire I said hi if you see her.
I will, Skip. Thank you. All right. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye. And recording.